Hey, what is up guys? Smaffy back for another video. You have not seen a video uploaded from me in quite a while, unfortunately just because of uni work. However, at the moment, the UK is currently on lockdown, so that means I don't really have a lot to do, which means fortunately I can make a lot of videos. So my challenge to myself is to try and make at least one video every single day and upload one video every single day to my channel. That way I can get a shitload of content online. So it gives you guys something to do, keeps me busy. I just thought it'd be fun to do. So we are going to start off with a vintage cube whilst it's online. Most of my videos, to be honest, probably are vintage cube on my YouTube channel. So I thought this would be a good place to start. Yeah, so if you are on lockdown, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section whereabouts you're from, because I'm not exactly sure what countries are and what countries aren't. So opening in Pack 1 Pick 1, Grim Monolith is a sweet mana rock, helps you skip up quite dramatically. We've also got Counterspell, which I quite like, Through the Breach, which is fine, Gush, which is okay in Storm, but I think the Grim Monolith or maybe even a land would probably be the best pick here, but we're going to go with the Grim Monolith. I played a like a all artifacts deck the other day, and it was absolutely sweet, so more than happy to play an artifacts deck again. But I have found that with this cube you can pretty much play whatever you want, even like the mono white decks for whatever reason sometimes just work. Like your opponent's got things like Ancestral Recall, and you just play like a Thalia into a Brimaz, and sometimes you just get there. So I really like how balanced this cube is with all the different colours, despite blue being the best colour. But pretty much every deck can splash it if they need to. Like you can play a mono red deck splashing Ancestral Recall and stuff like that. So I do like Mana Leak, and I do like Creeping Tar Pit. I do not like Eureka. That card is a trap. So I'm just going to stay away from that because, yeah. Oh, Durate is pretty sweet. But I don't think that's going to be good enough for what we want to do. I don't mind it if you're in like a red-black deck already and you happen to have loads of artifacts, but I don't like picking it early. I just don't think it offers enough. Like making the 1/1s is fine, and the next turn you can kill something and just keep doing that. But I'd rather do other things. So we've got Mana Leak, Thirst for Knowledge, Monastery Swiftspear is really nice. Creeping Tar Pit is a really good creature land. Yeah, I honestly don't know what one to go with here. I think we're going to go with Mana Leak, but I really do like Creeping Tar Pit. Fuck it, we'll go with Mana Leak. Oh, so we've got Liliana of the Veil and Geist of St. Draft. Edric is sweet. Ponder is fine. Elsewhere's good if you're in a beatdown deck. Doesn't look like we're going to be doing that just yet, but we will see. I think at the moment we're just going to see what colours we want to dip into. I really do like Lily. I think it's probably between Lily and Geist at the moment, and maybe Torrential Gearhulk. I really do enjoy the black decks, so I'm going to stay open to that. Ooh, we've got Snappy and we've got Tasiga. Other than that, there is Vortex, which is pretty much one of the best red cards you can get in this cube. That, along with like Goblin Guide, Lightning Bolt, Fire Blast, that's definitely one of the best ones. But we're going to take Snappy here. Wow, this pack is pretty good actually. So you've got Karakas, which is fantastic utility land. Despite not being in our colours, sometimes you can just use it as a colourless land that bounces, you know, their Griselbrands and all that kind of stuff. Leovold, which is surprisingly good, definitely very popular in Vintage and in Legacy, I believe. One in particular, I can't remember which one. Played against it yesterday. It's surprisingly good. So it's your opponents can't draw more than one card each turn, so basically their draw step. And whenever you or a permanent you control becomes target of a spell or an ability that your opponent has, you draw a card. So if they want to bolt it or they want to path it, straight away you get your card back. But if your opponent wants to start like wastelanding you, again, you're just going to keep drawing cards. Really, really good card. But it does put us in a third colour. So I think I'm going to take the Night's Whisper here or the Dark Slick Shores. Really big fan of having good mana in my decks over even better spells and just having a poor mana base, so I'm happy just to take the Dark Slick Shores. Here we've got Damnation, which is good, Skull Clamp, Swords to Plowshares is good if we end up in blue-white instead of blue-black, or maybe even Esper. But I think Damnation is just a good enough card that we're happy taking that over Swords. The only other card I do like here is Elesh Norn. But yeah, we'll go Damnation. Sweet. Okay, so we've got Nicol Bolas if we do want to splash red. So it's draw a card, then your opponent exiles a card or opponent they control. Then it's destroy a creature or planeswalker, and then each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or a planeswalker loses the game. Other than that, I like Hero's Downfall. I quite like Daze as well. Daze is just a great counter spell, especially if you're being like a little bit more proactive. So for example, if you want to turn 3 Lily, but you don't want to leave her exposed, you can always just go turn 3 Lily, have Daze backup, which is really, really strong. If we do take the Hero's Downfall, we are heavily in black at that point, which I don't hate, but yeah, I think we will go Hero's Downfall here. And we've got Languish, but we've already got Damnation. Languish can have upsides over Damnation occasionally. So for example, if you've got a Sheoldred in play, which is like a 6/6 or a 7/6, you can Languish, kill all their little creatures, and you still got your creature left over, whereas Damnation just kills everything. So it does have niche benefits, but I don't think we want to take that over something, say like Thing in the Ice, or potentially even Archangel Avacyn or Restoration Angel. Both of those are really, really good cards. Brainstorm, we haven't got any fetches, so it's not even going to bother. But we're going to take Thing in the Ice here. Cool. So Makeshift Mannequin is just a reanimator card. Probably not what we're looking to do. You can do it. You've got like Lily, uptick, discard some huge creature, and then bring it back. But I'd rather play like more of a fair, grindy version of blue-black. Mastermind's Acquisition is just a really, really slow shooter. But it does let you get stuff from outside of your deck, so you sideboard and stuff like that. But out of these, I think I'm going to take the Lava Claw Reaches, just on the off chance that we do get like a good red card that we want to splash. I guess we can take Yawgmoth's Bargain. I don't really want either of these. I guess we could take the Concealed Courtyard. Yeah, we'll go with the Courtyard. And I guess out of these, Assassin's Trophy is probably the most likely card for us to play. That or Geist, actually. We'll go with the Trophy. It's got some pretty good black cards, pretty good blue cards. So Face Fetters or Tide Hollow Sculler. Or alternatively, we can take the land. Yeah, let's go with the land. I don't see us playing that anyway. We'll take the Buried Alive just in case we do end up in Reanimator. Not something that we're looking to do, but it is an option available. Sometimes just no one wants to go Reanimator and you get all the good cards at the end. So it's nice. Out of these, I'd rather take the Thragtusk. We're not going to play Turnabout in this kind of deck. If we do end up splashing green, then Thragtusk is actually a pretty good card in mid-range fights. And it's good against aggro. Ooh, so there we go. Ancestral Recall. This is the reason you want to be in blue. Other than that, you've got Lily, Search for Azcanta, and Nox Diamond I really like as well. We're going to go Ancestral Recall. So here we've got the option to go in the Overgrown Tomb, again if we do want to splash the green. Also apologies for any background noise. Not only am I locked down obviously, so are my housemates, so it's a bit unfair for me to expect them to be quiet all the time. So you may hear a little bit of background noise. Shallow Grave again for Reanimator. Not a lot here particularly stands out to me, if I'm honest. Dismember is fine. Freebooter is fine. Brazen Borrower I'm not really a fan of in this cube. It just doesn't seem powerful enough. Like the 3/1 is fine. Bouncing like a permanent is fine. But I don't really want to be doing things like that in this cube. I'd rather have heavier threats or better disruption than bouncing. Not a lot I want out of here. I think I'm just going to take the Overgrown Tomb. on the off chance that we do want to play an extra colour. Okay, so prime time is the kind of reason you want to splash green. Not really a splash, if anything, to be fair, actually. Other than that, you've got Arid Mesa. We're not playing either of those colours at the moment, so that leaves it quite weak for us. And Golgari Signet. That's pretty sweet. Unbearer Rites, again, it does look like the Reanimate style deck is a little bit open, which is what Ashen Rite is for, I guess. I think we do want to be in blue. We've got the recall, so we kind of have to play the blue for that, or 99% of the time it is right to play the blue for that. We don't have to play black, I guess, if we want to play the prime time. Other than that, nothing really stands out. Hellkite is okay. Pretty subpar pack. I think we're just going to take the Signet here. Helps us ramp a little bit. Oh, Ugin. Ugin is perfect. Whatever colour we play, he's good in, other than mono red and mono white aggros. Really good at just removing everything off the board, and is a win condition. Other cards I really like are Inquisition and Remand. Both of those are fantastic, but neither of them compared to Ugin. I also do like Phyrexian Arena and Emery. Emery you need to be pretty heavy in the artifacts to be able to do. But yeah, I think Ugin is by far the best card in this pack. So we've got Bitter Blossom, Coalition Relic, and Sheldock Isle. This is a good pack. We've also got Spell Pierce, which is good. But I think it's probably between these two. 3 mana rocks are nowhere near as good as the 2 ones, obviously. But it does allow you to get 2 mana out of it. So you can go like end of their turn, put a counter on it, untap. You get it from the counter, the mana, and then you get the mana from tapping as well. So it does give you 2 mana sometimes. But Sheldock Isle is just really good. It's just a land that allows you to get a card off it later when the game drags on late, and by the look of it, we're hoping to drag the game on. So I think we want to play the Sheldock Isle here, but it is really close. You know what? No, I'm going to take the Coalition Relic, and the main reason is because it fixes your mana, as well as being a mana rock. I can definitely see that being wrong. We'll see if the Coalition Relic helps. Anyway, on to the next pack. We've got the Hissing Quagmire. Again, if we do want to splash green, we then have 2 green, 3 green, 4 green sources between 2 lands, a Coalition Relic, and a Golgari Signet. Other than that, we've got Field of Ruin, which is fine, Ultimate Price, and Terminate. And I think we're just happy taking the Hissing Quagmire. We do have the Assassin's Trophy and the Thragtusk if we would like to play those, so it might be handy. From these, we've got Rotting Regisaur, just a big old creature. I'm not sure how well that's going to work in our deck. I'd probably rather play something like... Well, not a lot from this pack, to be honest. Frantic Search is okay, but you are then a card down. You're not any mana down, but you are a card down. Mishra's Factory is fine. Yeah, so I think from this pack we're just going to take the Rotting Regisaur. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. We'll take the Putrid Imp in case we somehow end up in Reanimator. And here it's between Jace and Riftwing. Yes, we could splash the Wilderness Reclamation. Not quite sure why we'd want to. I guess we could then play a Planeswalker and then untap and have removal and counter spells. But no, we're going to take the Jace here, I think. Yeah. Stick Jace in the blue pile for now. Again, another reason we might want to play green would be the Maelstrom Pulse or the Fast Bond. I think Fast Bombs can be a bit of a trap. If you play it in a mid-range deck and you don't have that many lands, like sometimes it doesn't do a lot, and especially if you're attrition based. If you go turn 1 Fast Bonds and then you play like 2 more lands, yeah, you're 2 mana up. But if you're not doing anything with that mana, it can be just a waste of a card. I think in our deck we're probably more likely to want Maelstrom Pulse, as much as I hate to pass Fast Ones because I absolutely love it. Okay, sweet. So we've got Shallow Grave, again another reanimated card, or we've got the Freebooter if we want to go mid-range. So if we want to play like the reanimated style, we've got Putrid Imp as a discard outlet and Buried Alive as a tutor for our graveyard. We haven't got any reanimated targets yet, so I think we're going to take the freebooter or the dismember here, and I'd rather take the freebooter. Okay, so now we get Burial Rites, and we also have the Ashen Rider as well, and the Sun Titan. So all three of those are reasonable. Well, these two are good reanimated targets, or we actually take the reanimated spell itself. I'd rather just take the Unburial Rites. Here, I'm happy to pick up the Phyrexian Arena, but there is the Iona if we do end up going down the Reanimator route. So I think we do need to really make a decision. Being that Iona is like one of the best Reanimator cards. Yeah, we'll take the Iona here, and we will see if we end up in the Reanimator package. We'll take Mother of Runes and sure, Kitchen Finks. So we're gonna need like probably another 2 reanimate spells. I'd say in like a mid-range deck to make it worth it. Like I don't want to just play a Putrid Imp, a Buried Alive, and an Unburial Rites, and that be the whole thing. Here you go. So you got like Recurring Nightmare, sorry. That that gives you the option of keep getting things back. But I don't want to play just one of each spell. I'd want like several reanimate spells to make it worth it, because otherwise you're just going to draw a reanimate spell, not get anything decent in the graveyard, and be looking at reanimating like freebooters and stuff like that. It's just not worth it. Whereas Recurring Nightmare is fantastic. I do like Thief of Sanity. Just every turn they have to answer it, otherwise you're just going to keep getting card advantage. And although you're getting it from your opponent's deck, it is still really good. Sometimes you get a burn spell against a red deck and you can kill their creatures, or just there's various different ways that can help you. But Recurring Nightmare seems like the way we probably want to go. Muldrifter is great as well. Gonti is great if we do want to go stick to the mid-range route. I'll be honest, I would rather play mid-range than play Reanimator. I'm just not a fan of how that deck plays. You can play Recurring Nightmare in a mid-range deck, to be fair, as well. We're going to take the Gonti, I think. Yeah, we're going to play Gonti. I would like to stay away from the Reanimator package, if possible, but it is there if we need it. So we've got Flooded Strand, which helps us with our blue fixing, but it doesn't help us with our black at all, unless we pick up a Watery Grave later, or maybe even like a Scrubland, because then you can fetch a black source with it as well. Duress is fine, it's just to get rid of one of the cards in hand. I think it's between the two. Other than that, there's not really anything that stands out. Dark Ritual's fine if you're in a Storm deck, but we are in a mid-range deck, which makes it tragically bad. Yeah, let's go with Duress. Okay, so here we've got Mana Vault, this must have been a good pack to have Mana Vault as a third pick. We've also got Sylvan Library if we do want to go green. Again, the green splash is fairly easy between 4 green sources already, but I think Mana Vault is strong enough that we'd rather just take that. It's going to help us ramp into Ugin and things like that. So as far as green splashes go, Garruk's not bad. Just a top end Planeswalker, which is removal as well as a way to close out the game. But I do really like Treasure Cruise. This does make the fetch land, the Flooded Strand that we pass, a little bit better if we had that, but we don't, but that's still fine. We're still going to end up with loads of cards in the graveyard. So Treasure Cruise might be the best option. Yeah, let's go with Treasure Cruise here. Okay, so we've got some good cards here. We've got Jace, really good at just getting cards in the graveyard and filtering through our deck. Also helps with the Reanimator style if we go down that. Helps fuel Treasure Cruise, and it's just really good value. We've got Force of Will if we want to stop our opponent from doing stupid things. In attrition-based matchups, Force of Will isn't as good as what people think in Legacy. So in like Legacy, when your opponent's like turn 2 storming, yeah, it's really good. In a Vintage Cube, where it's actually really hard to do so, Force of Will isn't as good, because especially when you're like a mid-range deck. So if we're like mid-range control, so if we're like 1-for-1ing them with Duress, and then we're taking away a card with things like Kitesail Freebooter, 2-for-1ing ourselves with Force of Will is only if we really need to. So I'd rather just take Jace. And also the other card was Vampiric Tutor, but it puts on top of your deck instead of putting it into your hand. Yes, that is being a little bit picky when it comes to tutors, especially at instant speed for 1 mana, but I don't want to be down cards at the sake of getting a card unless it is, where is it? Ancestral Recall. That would be the only time I would really want to do it. So that is probably a good option, but I think I'd rather Jace. Okay, so here we have got the Entomb if we wanted to play that. We've also got Shriekmaw, which is just a removal spell if you want the upside of having a creature late game. Other than that, we've got a Signet if we want to take that. Brow's fine. Thran is fine. Nothing here really stands out. I think we're going to take the Thran Dynamo. But I don't particularly care what we got there, to be honest. I wouldn't say that any of them were by far the best or the worst. Okay, so to fuel Treasure Cruise, we've got Scalding Tarn. We've also got Dimir Signet, which fixes both our mana and ramps us, and we've also got Fatal Push. And then if we want to get really wild, we also do have the Bolas Citadel. So it is, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, you may play the top card of your library, but you pay life equal to its CMC instead of casting it. So if you are really far ahead on the in like the late game, you've got loads of stuff in play, you can just use that to kind of like get further ahead. But I think it's more a Storm card than an Attrition card. I could be wrong though, but we're going to take the Signet here. Okay, so we've got Necrotal, it's just some old school removal. So it's just it's basically a Chupacabra from Standard, not long ago. Other than that, we've got Skoos if we really want to play that, or a Signet. Considering how many mana rocks we've already got, if we just take out the Ugin, if we stick Ugin here, we've already got 6 mana rocks in a mid-range deck, so I'm not particularly interested in the Signet. I think I would probably just rather take the Scavenging Ooze as a sideboard option. Okay, wow, this pack has come back really good for us. So we've got the Teferi if we wanted to take that. I don't really want to splash white for this Teferi. We have 1, 2. Yeah, we've only got 2 ways of splashing for it at the moment, so I don't really want to be doing that. Muldrifter, fantastic card. It's divination, sometimes a creature, and we've also got Thief of Sanity as well. And Probe is fine. It's actually a lot better if you have Dig Through Time, but I think... Okay, I wanted to actually take the Muldrifter, but I guess we'll take the Thief of Sanity instead. Out of these, Mindslaver is not something I really want to be doing, but none of these cards are. We could take the Steam Vents in case we really want to splash red, but we're already on the last pack, and I see no reason we'd want red. So we will take the Mindslaver. Out of these, again, nothing we really want. We could take the land here or Cabal Ritual. Neither really do anything for us, so we'll take the land just in case. And cool, so Vampire Nighthawk is actually okay. It's good to be a little bit proactive. Sometimes if you've got too much reactive and nothing to do, you can sometimes just not accomplish anything after a couple of turns, whereas Vampire Nighthawk can get you some life back, pressure the Planeswalkers. We could play Living Death, but we're not playing the Reanimator package at this point. So we could splash Kaya. Other than that, we're not playing Spectral Possession. Sure, we'll play the Kaya in the sideboard. Doesn't really matter. And a Heliod's Spear. Sure. So if we stick all the lands in the sideboard, let's go by CMC. Try that again. Oh, that is by CMC. Okay, let's group them separately actually. Okay, so 22 cards. Do we need to play 17 or 18 land? Pretty hard to say, I think. We do want to be hitting our land drops, but we do have a lot of card draw, so we also have got a lot of mana rocks, which again makes me lean towards not having to have as much land as, say, like if we had no mana rocks, then I'd probably be looking at 17, 18 land. Being that we have so many mana rocks, I think I'm more in the idea of having 17 land. So we've got 2 really good spells if we do want to splash. So we're definitely playing that. And if we want to splash green, we've got Overgrown Tomb, Hissing Quagmire, and the Relic and the Signet. So 1, 2, 3, 4 green sources. So we could play a forest if we really wanted to. I don't think we want to play the Thragtusk. Also not massively into the Thran Dynamo. Yeah, let's cut that. Put that there. That there. We'll play these. I think that'll do. Yeah. The other alternative is stick Mindslaver in. And just try and stick with blue-black, because our blue-black spells are so powerful as it is. But I don't mind playing something like that, for example. So 7 black sources should be plenty. 7, 8, 9, 10. Blue sources, we've got 6, 7, 8 if you count the Coalition Relic. Yeah, so we're only sacrificing 1 blue source to gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green sources. I think that's reasonable. We will find out, I guess, when we play in our first round. So yeah, let's jump to that. So this hand seems fine. We'll keep this. We're on the draw, so I'm sure we'll draw a third land sooner or later. We've got the Signet as well, and we've got a bit of stuff to do in the meantime. So our opponent is black, same as us. See what else they're up to. Oh, that's pretty good. Into Bitter Blossom. That's a pretty strong start for our opponent. I think we're just going to play the Overgrown Tomb tapped and pass. Our opponent is pretty far ahead already with the Mox into Bitter Blossom. I don't think Bitter Blossom is as good as people sometimes think. Don't get me wrong, making 4 or 5 tokens is really powerful, but it's not the like. Oh, okay. So now they're playing Buried Alive. Got a bit of a strange theme going on there with Bitter Blossom. I guess it is good with Recurring Nightmares, because you can then sacrifice the tokens to bring stuff back. But I think generally, if you've got Recurring Nightmares, you're going to get value anyway, regardless of what you're up to. So if our opponent is going to try and reanimate this turn, we are in trouble. If our opponent is going to do it next turn, we do have Mana Leak available, depending on what their reanimate spell is going to be. So they've stuck Inkwell Leviathan, Ulamog, and Sheoldred into the graveyard. Okay. So we definitely need to make sure they can't do anything like that. So the options are keep Mana Leak open and hope for the best that they play one that is going to be 3 mana or more next turn, or we can freebooter and hope they only have 1 reanimate spell in hand, or only no removal spells. I think unfortunately we are probably better off doing the Kitesail freebooter, just to see what's going on. Keeping Mana Leak open for the rest of the game is just going to be pretty hard to do, so I'd rather just find out what they're up to, and hopefully they don't have a redundant of reanimate spells. If they had literally reanimate, so 1 black mana, get a creature back, lose life equal to its CMC, then they would have just cast it straight away, I'd expect. So yeah. Okay, so we still get to see what's in their hand. Grave Titan and Exhume. Brilliant. So it does look like it would have been better to play Mana Leak, but I mean if they draw a land, then it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, and it, we weren't to know that they'd have a removal spell as well as a reanimate spell. I'm not sure what the correct choice would have been there, to be honest. Yeah, so now they would have cast Exhume and they would have had Mana Leak mana up anyway. So we get a freebooter, they get probably a Sheoldred here, just because it's going to start bringing back the other ones. Okay, they've gone for the Leviathan. Just the aim of hope our opponent can't kill that in 3 turns. Obviously, we can't take the Grave Titan. So our opponent is up to a very good start. I don't quite know how we're going to catch up. I don't even know if we have any removal spells for Leviathan. It is a quick clock, but it's not as bad as it could be. So let's go ahead and what do I want to do? So we can play the Thing in the Ice, or we can play the Signet. I think we're just going to play the Thing in the Ice here and pass the turn. I don't know why, but I always think that the Leviathan has flying. It doesn't. It has Island Walk, so we can't block it regardless. But I just always expect it to have flying. I think it's the picture. Like, I don't know about you, but that to me looks like it's flying. At first glance, at least. Obviously, after you can see that it's coming from the wave, so it's just jumping out. But in the picture, to me, it looks like it has flying. Been caught out by that so many times. Okay, so we pretty much need to draw Damnation next turn. If not, we are going to be in pretty bad trouble. Okay, so that helps answers the Grave Titan, which slows them down a little bit. Or, what else can we do? So we have a blocker for the Grave Titan, and we have a blocker for a 2/2, which means we'll take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we do technically survive. I think we're better off playing Gonti though and trying to look through their deck as well for maybe a board wipe. Being that they're black, they could be playing Damnation, things like that. Yeah. And yeah, I guess we could try and get 4 instants and sorceries, but I think that's pretty unlikely. So we could try Reanimate and reanimate something of theirs. I don't think we're going to have enough life though, because we're going to take 7 down to 6. We'll take the Mannequin. I don't think we can play the Reanimate, so there's not much point in taking it. We're just going to hope to draw Damnation, I guess, and if not, pretty much lost the game. Even if we do draw Damnation, we definitely still haven't won. They have a bit of Blossoming player, we're going to be on very low life, but it makes us a little bit closer to that. So the Grave Titan's going to make some more guys, which is fine. We will happily trade off that. We'll block a zombie, and we will block the other zombie, taking 7, 10, down to 3. And yeah, hopefully we will draw Damnation, which we don't. So is there any way to flip this turn? So we can Makeshift Mannequin, which doesn't do anything. We can Hero's Downfall, then Mana Leak, again doesn't achieve anything. So as we've lost, what I'm going to do is Makeshift Mannequin into Gonti, and I'm just going to see what else they've got in their deck. I mean, there's no way to win the game, so I'll get the little bit of information I can from the top 4 cards of their deck, and then we'll concede. Let's see what they've got. Brilliant. Sweet. And on to the next one. So, in regards to sideboarding, what do we want to do? Exile up to 2 creature card, up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life. Possibly Kaya. I don't know if we have enough white sources. 1, 2. 3, so not really. Scavenging Ooze we definitely want. What do we not want? Not really sure what we don't want, to be honest. Gonti's still okay, I guess. Potentially Vampire Nighthawk, but it is good against the Bitter Blossoms. I think we do want the Scavenging Ooze, and we'll just get rid of something else. Yeah, let's do that. Possibly we want an extra green source, but I don't know how much we can risk not having that many green. Sorry, having that much less black or blue. Yeah, we'll keep this. So we're gonna go Hissing Quagmire into Dark Slick Shores with whatever 2-drop we find better at the time. Probably the Kite Sail. No, probably the Jace, right? Yeah, I think Jace is probably better. If our opponent went like straight away Entomb, then we'd have to freeboot, I guess. Yeah, let's just get Jace in play and start churning through our deck, looking for Ancestral Recall, stuff like that. Fueling our oh, okay, so they're straight away going to fail push that, which might be good for our freebooter. And they're going to go into Pack Rat. So depending on how scared of Pack Rat we are, we can just straight away Hero's Downfall it. Which I don't think is unreasonable. We do have the Ugin, but we're quite a way off Ugin, so yeah, let's just Hero's Downfall, completely get rid of the Pack Rat. It's a discard outlet if they do need to get something in the graveyard, as well as just being a genuine threat. It's not a very good one, admittedly. It does take a while and a lot of attrition, but it can be good. And they're going to go into Rotting Regisaur. Okay, so we've got Snappy to Hero's Downfall next turn. So here I think what we want to do is just freeboot. See what they've got. Okay, so they've got the Makeshift Mannequin and the Recurring Nightmare and the Grave Titan. So what they're going to do is upkeep, discard with Rotting Regisaur, Grave Titan, and then use Recurring Nightmare or Makeshift Mannequin to get it back. I don't know what's better to take. We could just take Gotha's Throat. So if we take one of these two, okay, so Recurring Nightmare is probably the most obvious one, because if they don't draw a land, they can't reanimate it next turn, and then we can try and deal with it the turn after. Yeah, I think we're going to take Recurring. We haven't played a land yet, so we'll play that, and we'll just pass the turn. We're just going to have to hope they don't draw a land. Our opponent's deck actually looks really good, because even their discard outlets, like things like Rotting Regisaur, it doesn't look like a good discard outlet, but it's also just a good beater. Obviously we can't block. Okay, so they have drawn the additional land. Makeshift Mannequin is an instant. Unfortunately for them, we have just drawn Mana Leak. A very convenient time. We don't have a blue source, so if they go, I don't know, end of turn, go through the throat, we couldn't Mana Leak it and then next turn Snappy Mana Leak another thing, because we don't have the second blue source. So we might as well get in for the one point of damage. They're probably going to try and kill it before anyway. Unfortunately, if they do go for the throat it, we can't Mana Leak that. We have to Mana Leak one of the reanimated spells, because we just don't have enough counter spells to counter everything. And they've just had to discard their Go for the Throat. Oh, it can't kill destroy target non-artifact creature. Why would they not respond? So Go for the Throat is destroy target non-artifact creature, which Kite Sail isn't. So in response to the Rotting Regisaur trigger, they should have just killed it. Not quite sure why they didn't, if I'm honest. So they're going to get in for another chunk. And I think we're probably going to end up... Oh, that's even better. So we're just going to Lily minus make them sack it, and hope for the best. So our opponent could just draw any sort of reanimate spell and we would be in trouble pretty quick, but we just have to hope that they don't at this point. Removal spells would be good, but they would still need a creature anyway. They're going to have a look at our hand. I'm not going to see a lot, to be honest. We are miles away from playing Ugin, and yeah. Other than that, if we draw another land, we can then use Hero's Downfall with Snappy. Of course. Well, I guess we'll get Jace and they'll get a Grave Titan. Is that the best thing they've got? Yeah. So the other option was to play Lily, tick up, then during their upkeep they'd have to discard the other card and then they wouldn't have had Exhume. But I think Rotting Regisaur is upkeep actually, so if they drew the Exhume then it wouldn't have changed anything. Yeah, so it wouldn't have changed anything under that assumption. So what do we want to do? We can uptick Lily, they'll lose their card, we'll probably lose Jace, then we can Snappy, Hero's Downfall as the Grave Titan. I think first we just need to loot with Jace. Do we just get rid of Ugin here? I think so. Yeah, so now we're just gonna do it right now because I don't want to risk any shenanigans with their island. Hero's Downfall on the Grave Titan. Again, we could do it during their turn, because now it does mean if they draw a reanimate spell they can do it again, but they could do that anyway because I would just do it before combat. So their main phase 2 they'd be able to do it. And here I could tick up Lily and discard my island. That seems awful. What I should have actually done is not played a land, then I could have played the island and discarded the land. But I haven't, so it can't go back. I don't think it's worth discarding the island because then we've got Jace. We can't protect the Liliana anyway, because if they attack both zombies and the Lily, even with the plus put up to 2, then one of the zombies either kills the freebooter, which we're not prepared to have them have their recurring nightmare back anyway. So there's no way we can defend the Lily, so her loyalty is not really an issue. Oh wow, they've just gone for the kill. In that case we'll block 1. I don't think we're at any risk of taking direct damage. Phyrexian Arena, that's pretty good. So they're going to be drawing 2 cards a turn now. So we'll play the island, play the Jace. It might have actually been better to use this Jace first, but I'm not sure, to be honest. Happily discard an island here. That's frustrating. Again, if we had got rid of the other land instead of the island earlier, when we upticked Lily, if we didn't discard the Ugin and we had not played the land and played the island, we would have a third green source, third blue source, which meant we could have played Thing in the Ice now. But again, we don't, so there's nothing we can do. So we can either flashback something from our graveyard, which doesn't really look ideal. How long does it last? This turn, okay, that's no point. Sweet, so we'll just minus on the zombie. And pass the turn. So next time we've got Thing in the Ice, which is a very quick clock. If we are able to flip it, does also mean that we have a little bit more leeway against a reanimated like creature like Elesh Norn. Thinking about it now that we've actually done it, because we're against a reanimated deck, it might be better just not to uptick Lily. It's hard to say because now we do have the minus ability, so we've enabled their Elesh Norn to be reanimated, but we've also now given ourselves an out against it, so I'm not sure what the correct thing to do there was. It's pretty tough, I think, either way. So here we're going to minus Jace first, see what we can draw. An island. Yeah, I don't mind just discarding the island at this point. They've got so many reanimated targets now, it's not worth worrying about. Okay, that one might be worth worrying about. So let's go ahead, play the Thing in the Ice, play the Mana Vault. We will ding them for 1. And again, now the Ugin would have been nice. So that one small error where I played the land when I shouldn't has come up multiple times where we would have benefited if we hadn't done that. Which does show you how much room for improvement everyone has, I think. I don't know why they would attack with this. I am not going to block it because I can't think of anything that would come up either way. To be honest, if that's the circumstance, it should have just been you block it. But I genuinely don't know any circumstance where anything would have changed. So we have to start closing the game out at this point. Possibly Jace would be the best way to do that. So yeah, let's do that. Jace could be a good option to try and tick up, but I think we need to keep our opponent from drawing a reanimate spell within the next couple of turns to make this work. So let's get rid of this zombie, so if they do get the Inkwell Leviathan back, or alternatively if they draw a removal spell, they can't use Recurring Nightmare on it. We're going to keep the Coalition Relic in our hand, only because as soon as we Jace, we want to try and mill them entirely out. This does only cost 3 mana. So we're going to boot this up, no pun intended, and swing in for 3. So we've got a clock of 4 damage at the moment, 3 from us, 1 from the arena. So they are going to be dead in 3 turns-ish, depending on how things turn out. And they get Corpse Dance, which does just mean we're dead. Yes, it does. Fair enough. So our opponent's got haste, it's got Island Walk. There is absolutely nothing we can do against that. Okay, so that was round 1. I guess on to the next one. So this time we are on the play. And wow, this hand doesn't do a lot, but we've got all our mana, we've got a little bit of ramp, we've got a little bit of disruption. I think it's so normally I would think that's reasonable to keep, but then I keep forgetting we have Ancestral Recall in our deck. So sometimes it might just be worth aggressively mulliganing hands that are slightly less than like a 50-50 just for that reason. So I think we are going to mulligan that. Yeah, this hand is better, I'd say. So we're going to go Swamp and pass. We've got plenty of removal. And hopefully we'll draw. Oh, there we go. So we're drawing the land. Yeah, so next time we've got Coalition Relic. Hopefully we'll draw a recall as soon as possible. That is by far the best thing we can aim to do. We could do that during their turn just to represent Spell Pierce and Fatal Push, but sure. They're going to make a little 2/2. We can Maelstrom Pulse it next turn if we so choose. We'll make a green mana. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get rid of that for now. Then we'll pay 2 to play the Signet, and we'll pass. There is no point whatsoever in playing the Grim Monolith instead of the Signet, then tapping it to play the Signet, because it doesn't achieve anything. Because then you've just got a Signet, a Monolith in play tapped, which costs 4 mana to untap, as opposed to paying 2 mana just to play it. So that was my my thought process behind that. Like, it might seem intuitive, you might as well just play both Mana Rocks, but you don't, because you're actually behind. Okay, so here I don't mind Damnation just to clear the board, but I expect we're probably going to want it on later as well. But we can't really do anything if we don't do this. So the option is, like, we can play Jace, but he'll die. We could play Monolith and do nothing. Then if our opponent plays, I don't know, a Planeswalker, we're very far behind. If they play a big green creature, then possibly we're ahead with a Damnation next turn. But I think I'd rather just Damnation now. That might be greedy, we will find out. Okay, so they're going to play the sword. That is something I'm more than happy to use Assassin's Trophy on. Fortunately, blue and red are the two colours blue we're playing, but red. Blue is not really our removal spell colour, and red is just not in our deck, so that's handy. Yeah, we'll go with black just in case we draw something that we need, which we don't. Oh, no, we've already drawn the Kite Sail. Should have known that. Let's go play Jace first. Signet. Sure, we'll play the Signet. And the Kite Sail. See what our opponent is up to over there. So they've got Time Walk, Thragtusk, Karn, and Acidic Slime. Wow, so they've got some good cards in their hand. I don't think we're too worried about Time Warp. Like, not really. Karn we are, but we're a way off dealing with that. Yeah, we're going to take the Karn here. I'd rather just not have to deal with that for a while. Now if they draw a land, they can play Acidic Slime or Thragtusk, and yeah, next turn they can attack again if that's what we're worried about. But it's not until the Sophie, which is Sword and Fire and Ice, is on something that we really care. And if that's the case, we can just Assassin's Trophy whatever it's on, or the sword, whatever we want to do. So they did draw the land, and they're going to Acidic Slime, probably blow up our Coalition Relic. I think that's pretty clearly the best thing to go for. Fixes our mana, and sometimes taps for 2. So it destroys an artifact, an enchantment, or a land. So yeah, Coalition Relic, I agree, is the pick. Okay, so we'll play the land. We will draw a card, see what we're up to. Jace is pretty good. So we've got 2 options that are about to happen. We can A, Assassin's Trophy the Acidic Slime when they put the sword on it, assuming that's what they do, which I would expect so. Or B, Assassin's Trophy the Sophie. So the main differences between it are, if we blow up the creature, we save our Jace. If they go for Jace, alternatively, if they go for us, then I will just blow up the Sword of Fire and Ice. Yeah. So I originally was worried if they went for the Jace. So their idea is thinking it's unblockable, because our Jace can't block it because it's blue. They'll deal the damage to us. The Sophie damage will go then trigger, deal 2 damage to Jace. I don't really want that to happen, so we're going to blow up the Sword and Fire and Ice. The reason I'm going to blow that up is because then we don't have to deal with it in the future. A 2/2 Death Toucher isn't at the end of the world. Whereas if I blow up the Acidic Slime, then next turn they're going to play like a Thragtusk or something, and then we're still going to have the same issue. If they had gone for the Jace originally, instead of going for me, then that would have possibly changed my mind. I probably would have just blown up the sword and then maybe blocked, but I don't know. Okay, so they're gonna try something else. Probably swing at Jace this time. I would say that this Jace is probably better than this Jace now that he's almost dead. So we are gonna let that go through. And they're going to play the Thragtusk, but we knew that. And an Arborel for sure. So that Kite Sail's really helped out. Let's straight away go in with Jace. I think we'd rather discard the Mana Vault at this point, because this is a creature land. And I don't really want a Damnation, because then they get Karn, and Karn's a bigger issue than any of these creatures. I could Maelstrom Pulse something. Assassin's Trophy is destroy, not exile, correct? Yeah. So if we tick up, give something like Thragtusk, makes them a 3, so then they've got 3, 4, 5, 6 power, so they can still kill Jace that way, unless we block, but that's just not an option really. Or we can minus and kill something. I think we're just going to have to minus at this point. We really can't afford for them to have Khan, so we'll go with Maelstrom Pulse. We'll do that on the Thragtusk just in case if later on we want to go for something that's like a board wipe. So if we later on in the game, if we Snappy Damnation, then they're not left over with 3-3. Because we're going to remove 2 power if we kill this or if we kill this. Because we're turning a 5-3 into a 3-3 or we're just killing a 2-2. And I should have attacked there. But that's okay. Yep, Jace is down. There is no way we're going to give them a Khan. Because if we'd blocked, all they'd do is play Khan, then get rid of our Jace anyway. That is not what we wanted to see. We're actually gonna keep this freebooter back just to stop the Arbor Elf from attacking. And we're gonna use Hissing Quagmire to block one of their 2 creatures, probably their Acidic Slime. No, probably the Beast actually. The extra power is more of a concern. Oh, they don't want to trade one for a land, which I find surprising. Oh god, don't be Primeval Titan. Oh no, it's too much mana for Primeval Titan. Hydro Crisis? Okay. So they're going to have 2 mana left over to play a Signet or an Elf. Oh, but then they get their... No, because we could just play the Kite Sail. No, we can't play the Kite Sail. Sure. Oh, and then they're going to play the Elf as well. So what they've actually done is slowed the game down to the point they've lost their 3-3, but they have gained their Acidic Slime trigger back. I'm not sure if I agree with what they've done, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, interesting play. What we're going to pitch, we don't mind losing 1 island. And the swamp. And I'm going to get rid of the Grim Monolith. I'd rather Signets over it at this point. Grim Monolith is great if you want to like play a very big spell at in one turn, but it doesn't look like we're going to be doing that. Ooh, that's pretty good. So what we're going to do is Kite Sail this turn, then probably have to blow this up with Downfall, because otherwise we're never going to get to play our Signets. So the Predator is whenever it deals damage to a player, combat damage that is, destroy an artifact or an enchantment they control. So okay, now we take the Khan and we're pretty much back to where we were originally with a lot less land in play. We've got their Khan under lock and no one is doing much else. But once we've killed this, we then get the Sire of Insanity? No, the Thief of Sanity. So they're going to blow up the Quagmire this time, I expect. So it might have been better not to play the Quagmire, actually. This is quite annoying actually, because now we don't have a third black source. Sorry, a second black source that will survive the Predator. And again, I'm not worried about doing 1 damage with this turn. I'd rather keep it up to stop their Arbor Elf every couple of turns from attacking. So when it enters the battlefield, exile all tokens created with it at the beginning of the next end step. Target player draws a card, then exiles a card from their hand. If a creature card is exiled that way. Okay, that's an interesting card. That's what we wanted. Yeah, so we're probably going to go end of turn Hero's Downfall, then start using Thief of Sanity on them. In fact, we could have done that the other way around and played the Thief of Sanity first. That might have been better, because then we get 1 more hit in. I'm more interested in getting the cards off it than I am doing the damage. Oh shit. We just dead here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we are. Okay, that was an interesting game. What do we want to do against them? Not a lot in our sideboard we can do, from what I can see. Yeah, I think we're just going to submit and try again. This hand is great. We'll keep. That was a misplay. Should have played the Hissing Quagmire, because now we can't guarantee turn 2 Jace or Thing in the Ice. Well, unless we use the Mana Vault, which doesn't seem like a good idea. Hopefully we'll draw an untapped land. Got a little bit too greedy there with wanting to play a turn 1 Mana Rock. Did not think about the negatives of that. And hopefully we will draw a untapped land, which we don't. That's fine. So do we want to play the Mana Vault, tap the Mana Vault here to play Jace? And I think the answer is yes. And we might as well play the Grim Monolith whilst we've got the mana. Yeah, that was definitely wrong, I think. Oh shit. That's going to be annoying. So that can start blowing up our Mana Rocks. Let's, again, shouldn't have played the land there. Should have activated Jace first, but that's not the end of the world. Ooh, Assassin's Trophy. Unfortunately won't let us do it this turn. Yeah, let's get rid of the Assassin's Trophy. Our green and our black are from the same land, so we can't use it anyway. Let's go with... Our Mana Rocks are going to get blown up at this point, so I think let's start off with Freebooter, see what they've got in their hand, and then I will either Thing in the Ice or keep Mana Leak up. Oh, they've got Garruk in their hand, so we're going to have to keep Mana Leak up. I guess we could just take the Garruk. So opponent's going to attack What would we rather? Them have a Garruk in hand or us have a Mana Rock? At this point... Shit. Okay, so there was a pretty big misplay I've done here. Because they're going to attack, that means they get to blow up the Mana Rock before we tap it for mana during their main phase 2 to Mana Leak their spell. So long story short, we are now not going to have the mana to Mana Leak. So we have the option of blocking to do so, but I don't think it's worth it. We just have to hope they haven't drawn another land. They're going to play Sword of Fire and Ice. Okay, so that could have gone a lot better. So let's start off with Jace, discard the island, play the swamp, play Thing in the Ice, and hope we get to flip it sooner rather than later. If they do want to equip the Sword of Fire and Ice, that does mean that they're not going to do much else this turn. Interesting choice to tap the Mana Dork instead of a land. So we can block the Sword of Fire and Ice if we want to. So what am I more worried about? Actually no, because if they hit us, they're just going to ping the Kite Sail anyway, so we have to block. Or even worse, they could kill the Jace. Yeah. So if we didn't block that, Fire and Ice would trigger, deal 2 damage, they could either do it to the Jace or the Kite Sail. So I'd rather just trade in the Kite Sail now, save the damage, stop them drawing a card. I think that was, we didn't really have an option. Okay, that was a really good draw. So that is 5 cards, right? Draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 5 more cards in your graveyard, exile Jace. Sweet. So we're going to activate Jace and then Damnation. And we are going to try and use Jace to close this game out as quickly as possible. We've got Damnation if we need a second one through Jace, but I'm hoping we can just keep upticking with Jace and win the game with Azul as quickly as possible. So if we leave them to do whatever they want this turn, so if we minus Weaken Damnation, so we minus Jace Damnation, they stay on 2 mana with 2 lands. If we don't, they have a Sword of Fire and Ice which they can then put on a creature, and they're going to start doing a shitload of damage anyway. So the 3 that we would save on Loyalty doesn't do anything. But we do get to keep Mana Leak up. But I think that, I guess the other option is Assassin's Trophy. No, I'd rather Damnation. We're going to try and use our Planeswalkers to leverage this game out at this point. Fucking hell, they just have more and more creatures. This time we're probably going to Lily minus. Get rid of the elf. Try and keep them as little mana as possible. I just don't want their Sword of Fire and Ice to be working. And we could have plussed on the elf, but it would have went up to a 2/3. So the -2 on Jace wouldn't have been enough. The fact that our opponent's only on 2 lands is a big advantage for us, and we're just gonna have to like use it as a leverage at this point. And the Signet, sure. being that we only have 2 blue sources, we can't Jace and Mana Leak. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to uptick Jace, uptick Liliana, because again we want to just keep using her sack ability. Yeah, we'll discard the Swamp. And here we can either play the Jace minus to make us draw a card, or alternatively we can keep Mana Leak up for whatever 5-drop they're going to play, or 4-drop potentially. So we know in their hand they've got a Acidic Slime and a Thragtusk. So even if we minus next turn to get rid of their Thragtusk, they're left with a 3/3 which can then have the Sophion. So I think we just have to keep Mana Leak up at this point. Just because it's very hard to answer a Thragtusk at the moment. And I don't want to risk just playing a Jace just for that sake. Or the Garruk, yeah, that's another reason. So we'll just straight away counter the Garruk. What do we want to do here? I think we want to play the Jace and draw a card. And try and find a way to answer this soon-to-be Thragtusk. Yeah. I guess what we can do is minus the Lily next turn, get rid of the Thragtusk, and then Assassin's Trophy the token. Because originally it was make sure they don't use their Sword of Fire and Ice. At this point it's make sure they don't use their Sword of Fire and Ice and try to keep as many Planeswalkers alive at the same time. So whilst, yes, we could just Assassin's Trophy the Sword of Fire and Ice, they're then going to have a creature that's going to start beating down our Planeswalkers. Probably Jace or Lily to first go, and then eventually the other Jace. So it's kind of like a balance: is do we want to keep all the Planeswalkers alive, or do we just want to get rid of Sword of Fire and Ice? And I think we want to try and do all of it at the same time. Easier said than done. Okay, that's not that bad. And I did not realise how much time we have on the clock, so I'm going to have to try and play it as quick as possible. So I apologise if I play a little bit quick and don't talk through my plays, but I do only have 6 minutes on the clock, which is not a long time. Yeah, so I think what we're going to try and do is just close the game out as quickly as possible with Jace. So 2 turns left, and then just try and do that. If not, okay, that's a little bit annoying. But the Sword of Fire and Ice is gone, and that was the main concern. And we should have done something with this ages ago, but we haven't really had time, unfortunately. So we can Assassin's Trophy this if we need to, but I think we can try and control it. I didn't really want to do that, but I'm worried about keeping the Jace. Oh. Yeah, so we can definitely ultimate Jace next turn, pretty much regardless of what they draw at this point. And then, yeah, hope that gets us there. Top 5 cards. There's quite a few cards we'd have to cast though, but we do have Karn, so. Again, I think we have to win another game after this. I can't remember if we've won a game yet, which is worrying. Shit. Okay, so we can't win that way. That makes things a little bit harder. I guess we could still win, but they'd have to draw the Emrakul. Pretty unlikely. So probably going to go everything at Karn. Yeah. And I'm just going to try and win with combat damage, because we're pretty far ahead on attrition. I'm not even going to bother treasure cruising, it's just going to take too much time. Don't even care about using Liliana now. Now that was a big mistake, because depending on what that creature is... Oh wait a minute, it's a manifest, isn't it? Shit, yeah, it was wrong. Got a little bit carried away there with the manifest token, because if that's a creature, then we could potentially lose to that. I assume they'll sack the elf. Oh, okay, so it wasn't. It was just a land. So we just have to hope that they don't have anything. It's also a lot easier to play when you're not talking out loud. Just because talking through everything is really hard to do. Okay, so we've got 3 minutes to win a game. That is not a long time in an attrition matchup. How do we speed up our win conditions? So we have blue-black. We could bring in Thragtusk. That seems like an option. Scavenging Ooze can help beat down. Duress is just bad against that deck anyway, because it's heavy creature based. And I don't think Thinglias has got enough instants and sorceries to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, because damnation doesn't really count. Yeah, so we're going to try adding the Thragtusk, adding the Scavenging Ooze, and try to kill our opponent as quick as humanly possible. Yeah, I don't think... I guess the other option is we could have tried the Reanimator package. I don't think that's very realistic. the fact that we have to draw the only one Unburial Rites, and we have to somehow get the Ionite in the graveyard with the only one Entomb equivalent, or the only one discard spell. I guess we've got the Liliana, so we have 2 ways to get into the graveyard from our hand, 1 way from the deck, and then 1 way to reanimate it. It's just not realistic. And hopefully we can get Thragtusk into play real quick and go from there. This hand is fine. I think we're just going to try and slam this Thragtusk. Jesus Christ. Their hand was pretty damn good with 3 ramp cards. You know what? I don't mind losing to this, because at least then we know, despite having the low mana clock, sorry, the low timer, we still probably would have lost to this. Not guaranteed, but a turn 2 Whisperwood Elemental from 3 mana accelerants on turn 1. Jesus. And they're spreading it out, so they're putting on different stuff. That's smart. I personally would have put it on the Manifest, just because then a board wipe means that your Whisperwood would keep it alive. Oh, is that not how it works? Does it give you new ones? Okay, fair enough. You know what? Fair play to our opponent. That round was very long-winded, but anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so we're on the play for the last game. Surely we can get 1 win out of this deck. Or 1 round win, should I say. No, I'm going to mulligan this, I think. If we don't draw a land within next turn or the turn after, it's going to be bad times. This is better. We've got a Jace, we've got a Mana Leak, we've got plenty of stuff to do. I guess we get rid of the Hero's Downfall. Maelstrom Pulse is probably slightly better. It is sorcery speed, but it does clear out a bunch of different stuff, and it hits non-creature, non-planeswalker targets. Feels very strange now that we can play at a normal pace again. Lots of our opponents got Mox recently, which is, yeah, it's cool. So it's, oh Jesus, okay. This might be a non-game. If they, what? Just casual 3 of the Power 9 on turn 1. What you can do? Play Dak Faden, you know, something like that. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. I guess we keep Mana Leak up for their 5 drop on turn 2. Oh, sorry, 4 drop on turn 2. What are they up to? Walking Ballista. I don't think we care about Walking Ballista. So we can Mana Leak it, but it doesn't really feel like it's worth it. We can Maelstrom Pulse it if we need to later on. Oh, that's a bit of a sigh of relief that that's their best 4-drop. Okay, so we could Liliana, make them sack it, but they will just ping in response. So I don't think it's worth doing. I think what we want to try and do is mana leak whatever they've actually ramped into, whatever planeswalker or large creature, and then try and recover after that. I am really not fussed about them having a walking ballista, even if they start pinging us for 2. Yeah. Here we go. Hopefully they're going to play something good here so we can counter it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and mana leak that. If we draw a land, we can go snap, mana leak again if we draw a blue land, that is. Alternatively, we can just Maelstrom Pulse this ballista. Okay, so there is no Dark Depths in this cube, unfortunately. So the Hex Mage is not there for that. The Hex Mage is for Planeswalkers. That is basically all it does at this point. I think we're better off playing it and then playing nothing than we are Maelstroming Pulse a 2/2 walking ballista. Just not fussed about them having that, to be honest. Okay, so they're just going to start pumping up their ballista at this point if they have nothing else to do with their mana, which it looks like they don't. Considering how ridiculous their opening was, this is very, very underwhelming, fortunately, because we're stumbling a bit on mana. We'll take the 3 from the ballista and then we'll go back to a reasonable game, hopefully. We're probably just going to end up going Liliana minus. They'll respond by Hexmaging the Liliana, so those two counter each other out, and then we'll just start getting a beatdown from a unblockable Tar Pit. Relic, which is fine. Yeah, they're a very heavy artifacts deck. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 already. It wouldn't surprise me if their deck's got Tinker as well, because, you know, why not have any more ridiculously broken cards? We might just die to their load of insignificant little 2/2s and 2/1s and 3/2s, because they've just been chipping away. Oh no, Creeping Tar Pit cannot attack because they do not have a blue source to activate it. Well, they do have a blue source to activate it, but it then ain't going to attack. So here we want to we'll play Lily minus and trade for the Hex Mage. And then we can either play Jace, or we can use Snapcaster to block the factory. And it's got to the point where we are so low on health that I actually might just do the trade. Oh, I guess if they really wanted, they could activate Creeping Tar Pit and then sacrifice that, but I would quite happily get rid of the Tar Pit instead. Yeah, so we either A, play Jace, or B, play Snappy and block as an Ambush Viper. I think we're going to go with the Jace, because even if they draw a island, activate both, we're still not dead just yet. And I think we need to draw something to get out of this, which they have. Oh, they're up to more stuff. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Of course, why not? Bit of fair vintage cube right here. Mox, Island, Ancestral Recall, Black Lotus, Jace the Mind Sculptor. I have a hard time believing we can ever beat this deck, because it's the same colours as us, just playing a completely different game. Okay, so we only have to answer their Jace, their Creeping Tar Pit, and their Mishra's Factory, and then we can have a fair game. So let's try and have that. I'm trying to think of any way we can get out of this. Like, Ugin doesn't hit their lands, but it does answer the Jace. Damnation just doesn't hit their lands. Yeah, I don't really know what to do. And they've got Karakas, just for good measure. So we are guaranteed. Oh, they're going for both. You know what? They can just have it. I could block with the Snappy, but I don't think it's worth bothering. We've drawn Forest and Swamp. Cool. So, to beat their deck, it's beyond me what we could possibly try. We could hopefully Mind Slaver them, then them draw an Ancestral Recall and then target us. But I think realistically we are just going to try our best and hope they don't draw their 3 Power 9 and their Jace. Sweet. We definitely want to play first, and as far as this deck goes, this is a pretty good hand. Don't get me wrong, this is definitely not a good Vintage Cube draft deck, and I've given a lot of people could have drafted a much better deck, but Jesus Christ, their deck is unreal. See, the one thing I want to know is, did we just see the best cards in their deck all in one turn, or in the course of one game, or do they have even, you know, like other good cards? Like, do they have Tinker with all these artifacts, and do they have the Inkwell Leviathan for it? Because I do think that's very interesting. Like, sometimes people do have just shit decks, but sometimes you just draw your 4 best cards in the deck and you just destroy your opponent. But it does make me wonder, was that the case? Or is their deck just stacked? Because like, even when it comes to lands, Creeping Tar Pit is one of the best creature lands. Yes, I think we did have the option to draft it, but there was I think there was something better in the pack. But it's okay, Imperial Seal. So that generally is, if you Imperial Seal 9 times out of 10, you get Ancestral Recall. I can't think of any card that they would want more unless they have a combo. Nope, never mind. They had the Ancestral Recall anyway. Why would you not? Why would you not just draw the Ancestral Recall? Oh, they went for the Black Lotus. Okay. And again, to be fair, we had the option to play Imperial Seal. Cool, so we'll play the Swamp. And we will play Liliana. And as much as I hate to do it, we're going to tick up, because they've drawn 3 cards, which makes it pretty hard to try and 1-for-1 them. But I think that's our best plan at the moment. We'll ditch the Relic as opposed to the land. Yes, the Relic can sometimes tap for 2, but I'd rather be hitting our land drops. It's harder to interact with them for our opponent and things like that, and it's less mana intensive up front. So yeah, I think we just want to play Thing in the Ice and just hope that somehow we flip it. In hindsight, the Thing in the Ice is pretty shit in this deck. We just don't have enough ways to flip it. That might have been a reason to play Manamorphose. What is that? Green and red. It's probably not still. Yeah. You know what? I'm very tempted just to concede at this point. Not because the game is unwinnable, just kind of lost the will to live at this point. Yeah. You know what? We're going to call it a day. If you want to see more rounds, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to try to be uploading one video every day for as long as we are on lockdown in the UK, which could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, could be longer, could be less. We honestly don't know. But if you are going to subscribe, I will see you tomorrow, and if not, have a good time. Bye.